che stanno ad occupare quindi l'ultimo settore del tracciato, buona anche la prestazione per Ivano Manerco.
Hello everybody and welcome to our live studio show here on MXGP-TV.com with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland, where our first guest is in the house, Courtney Duncan. We're also going to be joined by Mikkel Haarup and Jeffrey Herlings. And before we start, I tell you what, that view at the beginning of the programme never gets old, does it? Blue skies, fantastic looking mountains. We're still in Trentino, everybody. But before we do start, as I said, we've got those riders and guests coming in today. But Lisa, back to normal. It's Saturday. It's round 16. Yeah. It's not a Wednesday. It's not a Tuesday.
Wednesday. It's not. I feel like we're kind of back in, you know, routine again, if that makes sense.
But can you tell where we are yet?
Well, yeah. Well, judging by the amount of pizza I had last night, I'd say we're still in Italy. Pizza, pasta, overload.
Yeah, and we're still in Trentino, everybody.
Yeah.
But let's get on with our show. Three-time world champion, the bike MTX Kawasaki rider from WMX, Courtney Duncan, joins us now. Courtney Duncan, good to see you. And first of all, congratulations, third straight title. Has it sunk in yet?
Thank you, first off. And I think a little bit. Initially, obviously, the feeling when I crossed the finish line was pretty surreal. To think I've been able to do that 3 times and 3 times in a row, obviously. But things have still been pretty busy, so I feel like when it slows down a little bit, it will probably sink in a wee bit more.
Well, we'll talk more about that towards the end of the piece here, but coming in as defending champion, you needed a good start, and that's exactly what you got in Lockett.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to start the season off with a bang and have that momentum moving forward, and like you say, Lockett went really well. I was able to go 1-1 and yeah, carry that momentum into Lommel the following weekend.
Well, as far as tracks go, Courtney, how did Lockett stack up for you?
Yeah, I always seem to do not too bad in Lockett. I've been there, I think, 3 times and had 3 wins. So it seems to suit me quite well. Obviously, a lot better than the sand. So no, I always enjoy going there. Beautiful spot on the tour as well. So it was good.
Well, a week later, we traded the hard pack of Lockett for the sands of Lommel. Quite a tough weekend for you. Lost your red plate there. Not your favourites of tracks, I'd assume.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I haven't actually rode the sand for 3 years. Like, that was the first time I'd been in Holland for 3 years. So, and it clearly showed. Obviously, I didn't really have the ideal prep going in. We knew it was going to be tough. Like I said, it's not my strong point, just haven't had that prep. But, I mean, I was relatively happy with it, considering I salvaged some solid points there, I think. Yeah, obviously lost the red plate, but I wasn't too disheartened. We knew it'd be tough.
Well, I mean, you touched on it a moment ago, kind of the first time you've really ridden that sand, you know, in 3 years. So I guess that was part of the problem there, wasn't it? Just not having that time of prep, that setup. And for those who don't know, Lommel is kind of notoriously deep. It looks like normal sand, but it's not, is it?
No, it's its own animal. You ask anybody, it is. It's tough. It's hard work for sure, and it takes a different technique. And you can really identify the sand riders when you go to Lommel, I think. And yeah, just a bit more prep, a bit more time in the sand leading up would have been a bit more helpful. But you just take what you can, and you make the best out of every situation.
Well, you were back in control in Turkey, the 2 rounds there. Although you still had to work for every point there as well, because it wasn't easy, was it? We're at altitude, and you know the bikes do suffer there.
Yeah, exactly. No, Turkey was obviously good in some ways, was able to get the red plate back, which I was stoked with that. Had a couple of close seconds, which I was, you know, a wee bit frustrated with, let's put it that way. Felt like I let a couple of opportunities slip, but I mean, I was first or second each race, so I can't be, yeah, like I say, too disheartened. Red plate, I mean, we had the momentum rolling into Spain.
Well, you did win again in Spain, which meant you had a 16-point cushion going into the final round. But just tell us, how are you feeling before that first race?
Here on Sunday or Saturday?
Yeah, like I say, Spain went really well. I gelled with the track, was able to break a wee bit of a gap there in points, which was good, and roll in here, like you say, 16 points up. Yeah, I was still nervous. I was just nervous. Like, not to the point, do I think I could do it, or confidence. Like, I was high on that. It was just the fact that you know how bad you want to be a 3-time champ. You know how much it means to you, and then you start thinking about that and just you get a wee bit anxious. But at the same time, it's good because it means you're not so complacent. You know it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. So. But yeah, no, I still felt like I was pretty composed out there in the races.
And obviously, the final lap of that first race, you're within touching distance now, like a handful of corners away. What was going through your mind at this part of the lap? Yeah,
I mean, it was just take third, let's be honest. If I had to win, I could have gone for the win, but it was a situation where I didn't need to do that. So I think in my earlier careers, I'd made mistakes like that. Okay, let's just send it and see what happens. And it hasn't always gone to plan, so I think just being a bit smarter and a bit more experienced of knowing when to push it or when not. And that one, I was happy with third. And yeah, like the girls out front were riding really well, and yeah, hats off to them.
And the relief as you crossed the line?
Yeah, I mean,
I think we all heard it from the GoPro.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't hear it from the TV box, actually. I mean, yeah, for sure. Just an unreal feeling.
Yeah.
Long season. I've been away from home for a long time, and so much work's gone into it from all sides, from everybody involved. And to be able to win, to, repay people and to experience that feeling again is really special.
Have there been any particular standout moments during the season, like good or bad or whatever, where you've either thought, oh yeah, that was awesome that happened, or that kind of got away from me?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think obviously Lommel was pretty tough. Like we all know, I think I got a 6, so obviously it wasn't the position I really wanted. But so I think we have a lot of work to do in areas like that. The last corner pass in Turkey, where I knew I needed to make it happen, and that pass was important. I was pretty proud on that. I think that win was good. My massive crash in Spain could have been, season ending, whether I was able to get back up and maybe not win, but still get second, and then rebound with the win in the second one, and pretty good win was also special. And then the last moto of the season was cool to go out with a bang.
Yeah. You just mentioned family a moment ago, or just home, not being able to get home. How's the situation there as well? Because obviously people don't understand, borders are closed in New Zealand still, and there's like a bit of a lottery system to get back. So how are you getting with trying to get back?
Yeah, it's difficult at the moment. I still have no spot in my queue, which for people watching that don't know, it means isolation hotel back home in New Zealand that you have to apply for. And like you say, there's a lottery system involved at the moment. We've got like 30 or 40,000 Kiwis trying to make 3,000 rooms each week, and the odds haven't been that high. I've missed out like 6 weeks in a row, so at the moment I'm still stuck here, which is a little bit frustrating because I'd normally be on my way home right now. So fingers and toes crossed that I make it home for Christmas at least.
Yeah, but on a positive side, you've been able to experience the delights of Trentino.
Yeah, exactly. I've been here for a week, and I think no matter the day, like every day in the season, you wake up with pressure to deliver a championship. Like, it's always on your mind. It's always expected of you. And this is like the first week all year you're waking up with not having that pressure. And as much as I thrive on it, it's been nice just to be able to kind of relax.
All right. Well, look, Courtney Duncan, thanks for joining us today, and hope you get back soon, and all the best for next year as well.
Thank you,
Courtney Duncan, 3 times WMX World Champion, bike at MTX Kawasaki. Mikkel Haarup is in, getting ready to talk to us. Before we meet him, here's some highlights from MX2 Race 2 here on Wednesday. MX2 Race 2, the race that determines the overall classification. The atmosphere continues to build here ahead of Race 2. It's a little bit breezy here, just starting to pick up. The temperature still hovering at a comfortable temperature here outside. Eyes towards the centre of the gate, because that's where the Red Bull KTM of Tom Vial is. Normally pulls the whole shot, and he's just drifting a little bit wide, gives himself some space, and once again it's he and his teammate Hoffer very close. The sun now starting to get very, very low. It's right in the rider's eyes on what is a hazy afternoon, but Maxime Renault takes over the lead here on the opening lap. Tom Vial will resist though, and he does, but Renault in pole position at the moment. But Vial came down the inside, he got caught out, and Maxime Renault went straight on as well. But it's René Hoffer who leads MX2 Race 2. No, Vial has gone. So we've lost Tom Vial out of the top 20. Looks like he's been down on his head, and he's holding that left arm a little bit awkwardly as well. Tries to make the move around the outside. May work here, and it will. So Renault all of a sudden into 4th place. Ruben Fernandez has found his way past Simon Langenfelder. So Fernandez now up in the 5th place. Rennie Hoffer, he wins the race. He wins the GP. His first in MX2. Guadagnini crossed the line 2nd, beaten 3rd. Rennie Hoffer takes his first ever Grand Prix victory. He does it here at Pietramarata with a 4th and a 1st. In the championship, Maxime Renault again a little bit of breathing space. Jago Geerts holds on to that 2nd, Vial 3rd. Back-to-back podiums now for Ruben Fernandez. Jago Geerts takes the 2nd step for the podium. Rennie Hoffer, take a bow, son. Top step of the podium on the top step here in MX2. The championship lead still belongs in the hands of Maxime Renault. Hello everybody, welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGP-TV.com with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland. Our second guest is in the house, Mikkel Haarup, F&H Kawasaki MX2 racing team. Mikkel, good to see you. 12th in points at the moment with the 3 rounds to go. How would you sum up your season?
It's been a long season for me, to be honest. There's been many ups and downs. I've tried to stay consistent, which I feel like I've managed. But yeah, obviously 12th in points is not nothing special, I would say, with my speed. But I've tried to gather as many points as possible. And yeah, I'm still in the fight for top 10, which would be really cool if I could manage that. But anyway, I feel I've learned so much being able to race all the races this season. So, I mean, with some things I am happy with my consistency, but obviously there's a lot of things to improve also for next year.
Where would you say your, and I use this term loosely, weakness has been, let's say? What's been maybe letting you down?
I think everybody would say the same, my starts, definitely. The last couple of races I've started outside top 20 basically every race. And most of the time I've managed to get into top 10 again. So I'm having to do a lot of passes, but yeah, it hasn't been easy. We really try to improve in the starts, but it's just not just happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, the first time you broke into the top 10 this year was in Os after quite a tough start to the season. That must have been nice for you to get that level of consistency back.
Yeah, well, yeah, it started out a little bit tough already in Russia with a few mistakes and stuff like that. Probably some nerves playing in as well. But yeah, in Os, I started to get back the pace. Did a better starts as well, which obviously helped me to get into the top 10 early in the moto as well. And also just the sand is usually easier to pass, so in case you get a bad start, it helps a little bit because there's more ways to make passes and stuff like that. But yeah, it was in Os things really started to come together, and from then on I've been trying to build on it.
Okay, and then you had a couple of off weekends, and you seemed to turn things around again in Latvia, where you were 7th overall.
Yeah.
Were you happy with that?
In some ways, yes. I felt like I still needed more bike time, especially racing with the guys in front. You know, the way they ride is a little bit different. And for once, I actually got great starts. I almost whole shot in that second moto in Latvia. So the racing was a little bit different, and I had to get used to it. So especially the first few laps, I used a lot of energy just because of nerves and stuff like that.
But also intensity?
Of course, because they do push from the beginning because they want to gain those easy positions, let's say, in the first few laps. So the intensity was different. Usually I'm the one doing the passing in the first few laps, and I felt like I got passed, actually. Yeah. But I mean, the race was still great, and I enjoyed it very much. It's much more fun to compete up there, definitely.
Sure. Well, looking on paper, it looks like say, from Russia, the first couple of rounds they were off. Then you kind of picked up in Holland, and then there was a couple up, and then you picked back up there. And obviously last year you were on the podium and you were always kind of fighting in the early part of the season for those top 3, top 5 positions. How frustrating has it been for you this year not being able to find that level of consistency there, sort of top 5, top 6 on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, last year the speed was very good, and but I struggled with the consistency. Sometimes I had a great race, did very well, was really fast, and then I fell through in another moto. So this year we've struggled with some things, which has made it difficult to be in that top 10, top 5 all the time. But there's other things I've been able to work on, which I can use also for next year. Yeah, it's not been easy, because obviously you would love to fight for those podiums as well all the time. But sometimes you got to take a step back and just learn.
And part of that learning process then, is it just a case of just having to ride through it, hoping something will click, and when it does, that's going to unlock everything? Yeah,
well, sometimes mentally, when you get a bad start, to stay relaxed, stay calm, take one position at a time, it's very difficult. It's much harder than you think, because mentally you go into the race, you want to be there fighting for top 5s, but when you get that bad start, you need to reset, you need to think, okay, how am I going to get out of this in the best way possible? And if you start rushing, you just make more mistakes. And that's the problem, you know? So I've learned to, even with the bad starts, to figure a way out to get into the top 10, which has been very important, because for next year, hopefully we'll get a better start, and then I'll be able to use that, you know?
Has the pace increased this year as well in MX2 or not?
Yeah, I would say the pace is higher, especially in that top 10. I think more people is fighting for the podiums. I feel like a lot of the teams improved on their bikes as well. They did big steps because they're really strong in the starts, especially teams like Yamaha and stuff like that. They make big improvements during the winter time. So the field is tough, but it's great.
Well, last weekend you raced to 10th overall. You were consistent, if nothing else. Were you happy with the way that you were riding on Wednesday, or not?
Yeah, I was happy with my riding. Definitely. I made great passes, and I feel like I kept a decent pace throughout the whole race. But again, the starts was just it was just not very great, to be honest. You know, so I think in the first moto I was 23rd from the start, and to get into top 10 is, I think, is acceptable. Especially
around here, because it is hard pack, it's slick, the lines don't really develop so much, and obviously you missed this race last year because of a thumb injury. So how much of this kind of last 2 rounds was the first round you trying to relearn the track and trying to find a setup to then improve yourself for Wednesday?
Yeah, well, there's a few places you learn, like, okay, in case I'm behind somebody here, I can do this line and this line to set up a great pass. And obviously I didn't have that experience from last year. So it helped me, especially for that second round we've done, to make that easy passes, because you need to set it up here. You don't just run down the inside and then it's not. That doesn't work here. Yeah,
and when you say that, obviously for those who don't know, setting up means maybe thinking about something 3, 4, 5 corners from where you're actually going to make the pass.
Exactly, yeah, you need to think way ahead in order to just make a pass. And that's where it helps to have a little bit of experience on the track.
So Trentino 3 tomorrow, podium then.
That's the goal, I guess. That's the goal.
All right, well, look, Mikkel, thanks for joining us, and all the best here and for the last 2 rounds in Mantova, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks
right, our next guest is in. We'll catch up with him in just a few moments, and that's Jeffrey Herlings. But before we do, let's catch up with some highlights from MXGP Race 2 from here on Wednesday. We have a Fly Racing 15-second board for the final time today. And Kai Rowley absolutely lights the place up. He pulls a massive hole shot, and it's Kai Rowley who leads the way. Fevre buried mid-pack. And this time he's got Herlings right there alongside him. Herlings almost had a look as if to say, come on, dude, what are you doing? Geiser and Prado side by side, bar to bar. The Slovenian eventually finds his way past the Spaniard. He's finding another gear now though, isn't he, Geiser? Geiser has found his way past Jeffrey Herlings. So Geiser now up into 4th, Herlings down to 5th. Where did that happen? starting to apply the pressure to Coldenhoff. All of a sudden, generating speed from out of nowhere. Gets good drive, and he's alongside, and he does find a way through. We are going to be 1 point between first, second and third in the championship when we hit the line next time, unless Febvre can find his way past Herlings. Coldenhoff can surely hear Herlings, who goes around the outside, parks his KTM down the inside of the Yamaha. All of a sudden, Febvre also has to find his way past the Hoff as well, who looks over his shoulder, and he does go down. He had to be aggressive. Does he lose out on the way up, though? No, he doesn't. What a race we are having. Tony Cairoli out of the final turn. A start-to-finish win. Tony Cairoli wins at home for the 15th time in his career. It's win number 94 for the Italian. Seward crosses the line second, Geiser third, Herlings 4, Febvre 5. Another fantastic race. Welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGP-TV with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland. It's part 3, and it's round 16 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Garda. Jeffrey Herlings, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, joins us now. Jeffrey, good to see you. Before we start talking the craziness that is your season, how would you describe your season in a few words?
Oh,
maybe one word.
Unbelievable. I think that's the right word. You know what I've been going through and what happened. Like same. First I got landed on, then I closed the entire gap, made a gap, and then just a small tip over on the start, and then you see every race kind of somebody crashes and they just pick up the bike and go, and my bike was just completely hammered. So just unbelievable. Yeah.
The reality of the situation is you lead the championship by 1 point going into these final 3 rounds. And I guess the situation that you're in now all started because of what happened in Os.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what happened in Os, like you know, there's nothing I could really do. You can see my starting device didn't pop out until there, and so I lost some speed. Yeah, and then Monticelli just landed right on the back of me, and I don't blame him. I think it was just a racing incident, just because my starting device didn't really pop out. And then you could see like, oh, I was in pain, and yeah, that's where it all started. Yeah.
But obviously going into the rest of the race, you know, things obviously settled down. I guess the body warmed up, you got used to it, and this is why you're able to kind of end the race with a win.
Yeah, actually I did. I knew something was wrong, because I was in so much pain, and normally after breaking so many bones throughout my career, I kind of know when something is good or not good. But I knew it wasn't something too bad, like, you know, when you break a femur, you won't be racing like this. Yeah, so, you know, like, okay, there's something not good, but it is what it is, you know. So, but yeah, that's where it started.
Well, crazy to think that after this, you then missed the next 3 rounds. Yeah, you came back in Lommel.
Yeah.
Still believing you had a shot of that title, but just tell us, how tough was Lommel?
Yeah, Lommel was super tough, but I knew I still had a shot, because I was only 51 points down, so I was basically 1 race down with, I don't know, like 12 or 14 to go. So I knew there was a lot of things what could still possibly happen. I knew with the speed I had and my consistency normally, I could come back, and that's actually what I did, because about 7-8 races later, I was leading the championship, I think. So, yeah, and now we are where we are now.
Well, like you said, a few rounds later, you were leading the championship. You got the red plate back in Sardinia, because I spoke to you after that race, and I said, you got, you know, the red plate. And at the time, you were like a little bit, it wasn't too important. But I guess for you, you'd rather be leading the championship than behind, surely?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 1 point or 3 points, it's not much, but I'd rather be 1 point in front and 1 in the back. But still, you know, the pressure's on for all 3 of us, because I at least had a gap, so what happened on Sunday could have happened. Now it's going to be all out war, and nothing can happen to any 3 of us. I mean, you can still have one maybe a little bit worse moto, but with another DNF, it's going to be difficult for any 3 of us. So. Yeah, pressure is on, and the thing is, there's a lot of guys who can come in between, like Tony, Prado, Seward, Glenn. When they have a good motor, they can come in between. So it can go either ways, you know, positive or negative. When you're winning and those guys are in between, it's good, but it can also turn around. So it could be very interesting.
Well, then Germany. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Germany happened.
The drama followed you there as well.
Yeah.
You know, tell us about Germany.
What happened in Germany? Yeah, I mean, we had a good fight, me and Prado, and we all know Jorge is not the easiest guy to pass, and he defends his position, which is his full right. But yeah, on that finish jump, he jumped from all the way left to right, and I was on the right, and I couldn't do anything about that either, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. But the only thing what I can tell, like, if I would win the championship, at least I deserve to win it.
Well, look, you then went on a bit of a rampage. You won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And by the time you were done here on Sunday, you had a 24-point lead.
Yeah.
Riding-wise, would you say that you're back to normal? And obviously this is one of those races on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I was
100%.
Yeah, I feel like also with the small tip over I had with the start. I mean, I got no injury from it because, like I said, it was just a small tip over, and I feel like I'm good. I feel like I'm fast. I feel I'm comfortable. So you know, I've been on the podium ever since what happened in Oz just last weekend because my stock race wasn't on the podium. I won I think 6 out of the last 8 races. So. Yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling strong.
Would you say this is probably one of your best rides in MXGP because of the nature of the situation you're in, because of the championship being at stake, the passes you had to make, because I think you came from about 8th in this race?
Yeah, I mean, I came from 8th, and I chased down Tim, I chased down Glenn and Romain. Those guys, especially Romain, was having, you know, one of his best races because he took a whole shot. So as you can see, I passed him. I passed my 2 biggest. You know, rivals for the championship. So I think it was a great moto. But now I know I got to put the hammer down anyway, because it's never nice to have even if you're not leading, that's even worse. But if you lead by 1 point, it's not nice. So you want to be having a little gap. So I know it's time to put the hammer down and go. It's go time.
And I guess in terms of the championship, that was quite a big win because, like you say, you passed your main rivals in the title chase. And actually, from Roman's point, he probably went from maybe leading by 6 or 7 points to the gap then going out to 24. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're like, that's a great place to be in. Yeah, at that point, I was happy. I was like, okay, if we can keep it this way, and from now on, just control it. But then, yeah, just next gate drop, and 500 meters later, it's all turned around. So, yeah. We'll talk about that in a moment. But before we do, just another quick reminder, MXGP-TV. This year, we launched a new platform, so a new era, new everything. Very easy to navigate. Watch everything live, on demand, uninterrupted, no commercials. This week, again, we've got 125 and 250 European Championship action. So if you don't have it and you're watching this somewhere else with buddies, or you're watching us on YouTube actually on the studio show, give MXGP-TV.com a look, because I'm sure now if you went online there might even be a nice deal to be had, and you can watch the whole season on demand. Anyway, back with Jeffrey Herlings. Yeah. Jeffrey, I think everyone wants to know what went through your mind when you went down that first turn on Wednesday. When I went down, I was like, oh, I have to get back up, and I walked straight to my bike, and I pick up my bike, and I was like, why is my engine going like, brrr? Like it was making so much noise, like it was like my throttle would be in the dirt, but it wasn't. And then I just seen my entire gas cable broke. As you can see, the Yamaha guy just runs over my bike, and he just literally run over my handlebar. So yeah, a lot of things snapped, and as you can see down the right side, yeah, the gas was just it was broken. I mean, this was like live as it happened, and at this moment we still didn't know whether you were going to join the race, but then next image showed us, okay, you're pushing the bike back. I mean, your heart must have just sunk at that point. Yeah, like I felt like, why me again, you know? But yeah, at that point there was nothing I could do, you know? You see my front fender like popping around, and I was like, oh, why? Yeah, and I was talking to Banksy, a mechanic, this morning, and he said it wasn't just the throttle, it was the clutch, it was this, it was that. There was a few things, but had the throttle been okay, you could have probably rode around everything else. Yeah, probably. Then I wouldn't have won the moto, but at least it could be between 5 and 10 somewhere and score some decent point. I mean, the front fender would stay on there probably, but it was just yeah, the gas was broken, and
yeah, I made it impossible.
Yeah, unfortunately, no one hit you. that was the thing. So
that was good, yeah. That was. But if you ask me today, like if you would run over you or over the bike, I would say, okay, just run over the bike, man. Like, like now it's just like 3 races to go and we're all even.
Yeah. But look, I came and saw you after that first race anyway, and you were in good spirits. And I was like, okay. And Ruben was in good spirits, and Dirk. Yeah. Everybody seemed, okay, these things happen. Move on. Where does that come from? That kind of good energy.
Yeah, I mean, I could cry about it. Definitely, I wasn't happy, but at the same time, I was still in the championship hunt, so nothing was gone. If it would have been in front of the last motor and I would be like 20 points down, then everybody would be like a funeral probably in the mood of that. But for now, everything is still possible and it's still in my own hands. So, like I said, nothing can go wrong, but at the same time, it's the same for them.
Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey Herlings, we are out of time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Before we go, though, just a quick reminder, we are back live at 105. We've got 125 and 250 European Championship action as well. And so join us here later today, but we will be back at an earlier time tomorrow for the MX2 time practice, 8:30, because the clocks have gone back. We've readjusted the schedule because to allow for the light at the end of the day as well. So thanks for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks to Jeffrey, to Mikkel, and to Courtney. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.